guys, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new. It's Rose Michelle here, also known as the Haitian Pocahontas. So for today's video, I feel like I haven't done a sit down video in so long. Like, it's been so long since I've done one. I think the last sit down video I did was a story time. More story times to come, by the way. But I just wanted to kind of sit down and really chat with you guys and talk to you guys. There's a lot of things that have been on my mental, and a lot of people inspire me to just create content. And one of the conversations that I was having, and something that I'm also in the process of, is establishing boundaries. So for today's video, we will be talking about boundaries. It's important to have boundaries and to enforce them in every relationship that you have. That could be business, it could be friendship, a relationship, whatever. I think every relationship that you come across should have boundaries, just to keep the sanity and to just be healthy in that relationship. You know, I think that a relationship without boundaries is just, it won't be healthy over time. You know, we all have our places where it's like, can't go past that. First and foremost, I do want to say a boundary is not just a request, okay? You have to be able to hold yourself accountable. For example, if I told someone, please don't text me before 6 a.m. If they do text me before 6 a.m., I have to hold myself accountable by not replying or even getting frustrated at that. Just, I said I'm not texting before 6 a.m. Whether you send one or not, I'm not texting before 6 a.m. So I think it's important to really honor your boundary and honor yourself. That's for you. You set that boundary up for you. And I feel like a lot of the time, especially with the people we love, we kind of get wrapped in that whirlwind of kind of letting things slide, because a lot of the things you may not take in some places, you'll take in the act of love. I really want to talk about having boundaries with your person. So whether you're talking or you're together officially, or whatever the case may be, this is just how to have boundaries with your significant other. Once you've noticed that you're in this space of discomfort frequently and your partner doesn't even acknowledge that, I think it's time to establish a boundary that they're aware of. Because most of the times we feel a certain type of way and we may voice it, but they still think they have room to play in that area, when it's like, no, you don't. You know, I am uncomfortable with this act. It doesn't do well on my mental health, my physical health, or whatever. It just does not make you feel good. So I think once you notice that they do it frequently, and I'm always in this place where I do not feel comfortable, and I'm referring to the discomfort that hinders your growth. You know, it's like, that's not a comfortable place for you to be your best self, or to even grow or respond differently to certain things. So it's important that you let your person know and you establish that boundary with them. One of my boundaries is ignoring me. So if you have an issue with me and you're my person, you're my man, and the first thing you think to do to just show that you have an issue, or if that's your way of problem solving, you ignore me. I'm in this space now where I can voice and actually act on it. Like, hey, if you have an issue with me, or I did something that you may not like, if you ignore me instead of talking to me about the issue, I'm not contacting you after that. And it's not to say that my person can't want their space to digest those feelings, but I feel like that should be communicated. Like, hey, you know what? I'm really processing my emotions right now, and I really want to just take this time to just think. I ask that you give me a little bit of space, and then when I'm ready, we'll talk about it. Fine. And I feel like my response would be, hey, listen, I do respect your space and I am going to allow you that space to really think about your feelings and process it. That's a healthy form of dialogue where I'm not being ignored. We've just established that we just need a little time apart to really, you know, digest our feelings. But what I won't allow is being with someone and me telling them like, hey, you ignoring me does not make me feel well. I'm not going to turn around after they ignore me and text them 1,000 times, because it doesn't make me feel good as a person. I feel like I'm chasing. I don't chase anything. I attract things. I get up every morning. I go to work to attract money, to attract a better life, more opportunities. I get up and I go to church to attract blessings. I'm kind to people because I want kindness back. So if I'm constantly chasing something that the feeling that I get from chasing you are not positive feelings. So it's like, at this point, I'm hindering myself and I'm putting myself in a place of discomfort for what? I realize that that's one of my boundaries. Do not ignore me or you won't hear from me. Just being firm on your boundary and just really talking about it with your partner is so important, and it makes all the difference. More so within yourself. It can have a difference in your relationship depending on if that person wants to change their behavior that is making you uncomfortable. But if they don't, then I feel like for you it's a win. You're not wasting any time. You're not respecting or honoring what I have going on, so we're not going to work. Another thing that I've learned is, and I recently started to really practice this, is letting people audition for roles in your life. I feel like a lot of the times we see people a certain way. Like I may see a guy and think like, oh, he would be boyfriend material, husband material, whatever the case may be. So I have then put him on a pedestal. And I feel like in that sense, I've allowed him to disappoint me several times because he didn't see himself playing that role. Because if he did, we wouldn't be having this discussion. You know what I mean? So it's like, if I let him audition for the role that he sees fit for him, then I would have saved myself disappointment. And I feel like I've done this. I may see a guy and I think like, oh, you know, we're vibing and stuff like that, but he doesn't do boyfriend things, or he doesn't do the things that a man needs to do to be my boyfriend. So I feel like no matter how much I like him, the boundary goes up now. You don't get the luxury of the things that I have to offer at a girlfriend price without you making me a girlfriend. Or you don't get certain things if you can't uphold certain things on your end as somebody that I'm dating or in a relationship with. So if he's coming at you with friend vibes where he's not taking initiative, he's not trying to do certain things, he's not demonstrating what a boyfriend or future husband would be like, so then guess what? He doesn't get certain things from me. And another boundary that I've learned along the way is understanding when there's no growth. I feel like it takes me on average 2 years to know if a person is for me or not. And I feel like before I was always in denial, or like, I gotta stick beside him. But I feel like when you're in something and a man is not talking about growth, like he's not talking about what's next in that situation, then it might be time to walk, and it might be time to set your boundaries. Like, you know what? I can't keep giving you these like certain parts of me, and it's only for us to stay stagnant. Like I'm not gonna do this with you for 10 years. You know, there has to be a place of growth where we move on to the next step in our relationship, the next stage. And I feel like once I'm in a space where I communicate like, hey, what's the next step of this relationship, or what are we doing next? And don't get me wrong, the growth doesn't have to, like, let's say you're in that space now where you've been dating for 2 years and you guys talk about marriage. You don't have to get married in the next 2 years. You might have a conversation depending on how young you are, how established you are. Like, you know what, babe, let's work on getting ourselves financially stable so that in 2026 we can start getting ready for marriage or kids or whatever the case may be. And I feel like a lot of the times we fall in love with the potential of the man and not the reality of him. And the reality of it is you're stuck somewhere because you feel like you've invested time and he has nothing to offer you as far as growth. He has no desire taking the relationship to the next stage. I feel like now I've learned that. So once I hit that 2-year mark, I'm kind of like more like, okay. And I also feel like I've seen you in every weather. So by then I should know, like, do I want to be with him? Or, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I've seen you in every weather enough to want to know what's next. And I feel like as women, if your person is not making plans for you, then it's time for you to start making plans for yourself, okay? If your person is not talking about, you know, babe, I need like 2 years, get my money right, and I'm getting you a ring, or we gonna make this move and, you know, buy it. However your way goes, whether it's buying a house first or however it works for you and your partner, you know your partner, you know what you deem is growth. If you're not having conversation towards that, then what are we here for? Twiddling our thumbs? What do you just want an indoor water park for what? Baby, I'm a wife. If you ain't trying to wipe this indoor water park, what are we doing? What you keep trying to go down the slide for? Like, you're not going. And I feel like at that moment, you have to establish your boundary. Like, hey, whether it's moving out or breaking up or whatever the case may be, it's time to execute those things and just say, you know what, it's not working, we're not growing, so maybe we got to take some time apart, or maybe we need a little bit of distance to figure out what's the next step for us, whether we grow back together or we grow apart. But it's important to learn that earlier than later, you know. Ladies, while y'all young, listen, live your life. Live your life, and don't let the time that you spent with a person rob you of living your life. If you're with someone, there is no growth and you're unhappy, it's time to start setting your boundaries, and it's time to start living for you and just going out and experiencing the world and getting closer to finding your person who is going to grow with you at every level. I definitely feel the growth within myself, and I also feel myself responding more positively to negative behavior. I think it's important to self-reflect and figure out your boundaries, figure out what you're not going to negotiate on. You don't have to negotiate your boundaries. They're set, and it is what it is for a reason. So don't ever feel bad for setting your boundaries and saying it to a person because you love them or whatever the case may be. If they love you, they'll honor it and they'll respect it. And if they feel like they don't have to respect your boundaries, then that should tell you enough. Focus more on your growth as an individual and your growth with your partner, and creating a healthy atmosphere and a healthy dynamic. And also, I feel like boundaries don't mean like all or nothing. So it's not like either you do this or we never speak again. It shouldn't be all or nothing. I think that should tell you where that person needs to be categorized in your life. It doesn't have to be fuck them or cut them off. You just put them a certain place. It just has to make sense for the relationship that we're going to have or we have currently. That wraps it up for this video. I just really wanted to talk to you guys about boundaries. It's something that I've been struggling with recently and even before, but I think right now I've acknowledged it and I'm ready to do something about it. So I kind of wanted to come on camera and just kind of tell you guys about the things that I have gone through and the steps that I'm taking next to just make sure that my feelings are being respected and I'm not in a place where I don't feel comfortable enough to express my feelings or to just give myself or you know, give my love to someone freely. So I know that when you love someone, it's kind of hard to put those boundaries into play, whether it's the infatuation or whatever the case may be. But I think at the end of the day, you gotta love yourself, and you have to realize when you're hurting yourself more than you're loving yourself. And you never want to hurt yourself for the approval of someone else. That's just not the way love works. Love is meant to lift you both up. But if you feel like you're constantly going down to make someone better, then you're draining yourself. So you'll get into this space of being hopeless and helpless. And you don't want that for yourself. We want healthy love and positive things. And it's not about your disagreements. It's about what happens during the course of the disagreements and what happens after your disagreements. Because arguments and all these things are very normal and very healthy. But I think how someone treats you during the arguments, how you respond to each other during the argument, and how you resolve your arguments is where things can become unhealthy. I just want my homegirls and homeboys to know that we're getting closer to that age of wanting positive and healthy love. Toxic be a little fun sometimes, don't get me wrong. It be a little like, oh, alright, but it's just tiring. And I think now in particular I'm at the age where I don't care for it anymore. I just want healthy love, healthy communication, and all of that, and to travel the world. I just wanted to give you the confidence through this video to find your strength and to know that you are powerful, and you will find power in creating your boundaries. Trust me, it's the most exhilarating and powerful thing in the world. And creating it is one aspect, but actually like following through and sticking to it is a whole different aspect, and that feels amazing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm so happy I got to do this little sit down video with you guys. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Ooh. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Love you.